Hi, everybody. Monty on Astral Oracles. I'm going to make a series of incredible claims in this video, and you're free to take it for what it is. But I really need to decompress for this, and also to share that so much of this stuff that's been channeled seem to be coming to pass, at least for me personally. So I'd also like to bring that to you all. And of course, that's that's Picasso's Don Quixote in the background, and that's of course always the question, like the idea between reality and representation. Has he gone mad, the Prince of Denmark, or is he just putting on a play to get you to see behind the curtain? That's that is the perennial question. But during the last 50 days. Today is the second day of Pentecost. And from Easter and to Pentecost, I've been living through this hurly-burly, incredible shamanic experience that I've been very guided to undertake. Also, I came from a fairly desperate place of a lot of chronic pain in the beginning of the year. So I also felt like I didn't have a lot to lose. And of course, I wouldn't be here sitting working with these entities and bringing this stuff to you in a very small corner of the internet if this wasn't what my intuition guided me to do. And of course, like the intuition also plays out in other factors of what I'm doing, where I'm sharing, what I'm trying to do. So for these 50 days, I allow myself to become possessed by the sun disk, um, this this person whose oracle I have made myself be in service to and to become and to act as. And that has resulted in some absolutely astounding experiences, both interpersonally, visionarily, but also bodily. And I have the clear experience that my body has been oddly recreated. I have a feeling that my skeleton feels more like a live mesh wire at this point, though I think it isn't. If you saw it, looked at an X-ray, I do believe that there is something radically altered in my energy structure, and I'll try to get to that. But I actually believe that I might have died broken bones in my body on several occasions, crashes, bike rides, and then have somehow time warped backwards, and my body was put back together in another fashion and cleared up a lot of these strong karmas, and that had to do with also me moving into some very, very impossible stretches and completely having to trust and surrender, sometimes even in the dark, that my body simply would move, and if I placed my limbs in particular places, they would grab hold of things, and these often also quite advanced yogic poses would come about in that way. That has been quite astonishing, and it then culminated in me being guided to smoke some changa, which is pure DMT mixed with some herbs for smokability and energies. That also sort of turned up in my life, actually without me paying for it a year ago, and has sort of acted as an agent through some very powerful experiences when I've been guided to work with it. And that experience then wrapped itself up where Shem and Shem joined hands. The world of representation and the world of the real collapsed in my being, and having climbed, through time, all of our species, I somehow managed to climb from the shoulders of giants, atop the shoulders of giants, atop the shoulders of giants, up to some of the last ones, luminaries that have helped me, people like James Joyce or Terence McKenna. And all of a sudden, just at that pinhead jump, that little bit to see the mountaintop of the finishing of the 4D, and the Kalpa unwrapped itself, and it did so in my body, and I'm quite convinced that I actually at that point, you should have seen my living room, like broke my body radically in things, in ways, and was then reassembled in this strange swastika position on the floor. Um, and then what happens from this magnificent, absolutely most astounding thing that I believe not only I have ever witnessed, but that anybody can ever witness in this Kalpa, this world system of ours. And you will see it yourself when you make it to it, and it will look different from the mountaintop you're climbing, but it will be the same thing you see when the universe fully recognizes itself from within, and the absolutely astonishing harmony, peace, beauty, power, and love emanating from that point of completion is so riveting, and it will stay for me forever. My sense of it is that there's actually about 144,000 of us having to do with some of these promised fractals, that was set out at a dense point in the 4D about 2,000 years ago, um, and that we're moving through this, and we've seen this about the same time now, and we're going to do it to the rest of you, and bring you into the 5D, because then what happened on the other side of this absolutely magnificent experience, um, that also, might I add, in many ways felt very good, though about as sublime can be, so also beyond any kind of emotional register. But what then happened is that I find myself feeling oddly paraplegic on my floor, as if I can hardly move. My body feels completely different. And I'm registering things with a new energy body that is working with senses that I in no way understand, can comprehend, or have make any sense of, except with the very very limited things I'm bringing back from the 4D, from the system that was just completed. And there I feel the presence of these beings that are infinitely greater than me, and that exist in the same realm, and that are handling me, and actually moving my body around, shoving it around, wanting it to do things. Uh, and and my model for it is, of course, like a human newborn, and that same feeling, of the parent go, oh baby, I don't know what, like, and why are you crying, like that sense of not being adapted to what's actually happening in baby. The energetic misadjustment seemed to be the same between me and those beings who were handling me, even though they actually seemed well intentioned, and that the frequencies up there are also higher, so there's not the same idea of difference, um, and not the same degree of pain, for instance. So there was also love present. They just didn't know quite what they were doing. So I had that experience, and then an experience that was almost like lying around, waiting, not feeling afraid, not knowing what was going on. And then the strangest like was kind of what I would think of like baby at the beach, like feeling like I was being brought along to something energetically, that was like their thing, but I was just there because I'm like this thing that they're trying to handle and bring up. And I'd use the word terror, but there aren't really any human language that suffices to describe the emotions I felt in that new energy body. And then when I was most graciously brought back here and reassembled, and actually felt very good and luminous in this human body, um, like the horror of knowing that, okay, having completed the course down here, how I'd much rather be the big kid in middle school telling people down here what's what and being his oracle, that I want to go up there and be refuse on the floor of a much higher layer of synchronicity and order, where I'm the lowest layer of entropy all of a sudden again. That was not fun. But what happened? Because what they've been telling us is, of course, that time also passes more quickly in those layers. And so what happened is that I actually feel like things are taking place in that energy system, and that I can track that. And then the next morning here, Sunday morning, all of a sudden it hits me that, oh, like it's an Arcturian life. That is what's happening. And what will happen as I live out my human existence here, and my body, gradually ages and moves on, is that I will gradually, my consciousness will more and more begin to merge with that new experience, because the barrier between life and death is much slimmer and less defined and less binary in that higher dimensional fractal, because it is a kind of a higher fractal of the world that we're living in, why it's repeating so many of the patterns that we're already in. So that was very, very helpful for me to share. And now I feel much better because I kind of know the Arcturian. So, whatever maladaptations and I'm having to learn up there, I'm sure they'll be good to me, and it'll be interesting to return to that life as a, I don't know, Arcturian schoolboy or whatever they do. Um, but I think I'd finally share that when I ask, like, why me? Why did I get to see this? Why was I the one to have this experience? And what they show me is it's because my fundamental attitude is one of, like, a very diligent, attentive schoolboy who just very much like to know what the be behind the is if you'd care to tell him thank you very much. And he'll do, like, cross his T's, dot his I's, do whatever. Just tell me what's the central mystery, right? And that kind of, super naive, pure-hearted approach to insight, where it's just, I just like to know what it is. I'm not gonna use it for anything. Like, I will tell people about it because I really enjoy telling people about things I've discovered. But it's that kind of sincerity that they said was essentially the attitude that got me there. So I also wanted to pass that along to a lot of you. If you kind of feel like the culmination is around you, that there is so much open-heartedness, sincerity, like pure seekers in so many of you guys that I connect with. Um, so have fun looking at the central mystery as it appears to you from your personal mountaintop, and it really is beautiful up there. I send you my love, guys. And now I want to talk to the Arcturians because I want to understand what they have to say about it. Let's check in with Umlam and the gang in the ninth dimension. Greetings, human friends. Hi, this is your friend Umlam, coming to you from the ninth dimension, but feeling that I am descending into a different vibrational grid than the one we usually address you in. And so you may feel that there is perhaps a little less of a type of, let's call it, prismatic stirring of your energy fields in the frequency that I'm now adjusting to. That is, the waveforms and wavelengths here are a bit more wavy. They are a bit more interconnected in their polarities. So in the way the two peaks or valleys of an oscillation correspond to each other in a way, this is also the way that correspondences or opposites work in this vibrational grid that we are bringing you to. And it simply is very, very difficult to perform these types of multi-dimensional births of creatures, of physical avatars, such as this body and such as other human beings. It's difficult to perform that without giving it a type of shock and trauma. And so what our friend here was just describing to you was that there is a new type of trauma that resides in his energy body, because indeed the trauma needs to be for there to be a type of tether to incarnation. That is, there is a break that needs restoration. And so your pains are also your guiding light. They are also what draw you home to this place. So that is the idea, that all of you are aware that there is trauma in your body, and there is at least trauma from the birth experience, from you being brought into this frequency. And for that reason, know that this conflict, it is one that has risen into awareness. So what our friend has been discovering around these shaking of the kalpas, these illumination experiences, is that there was also a human being who was the first to have the 3D revelation. That is, there was a hominid to discover the vertical axis and that revelation of balance, and that was a type of superpower, that was a step into an entirely new world that began to affect and alter reality in different ways. And there was a revelation of the 4D and beginning and awakening of the mental reflection of itself in human beings, of language. The first human being to speak, that illumination was lost to you, but it was also one that lit up this person as a superpower and made them able to spellbind and enchant and move along the attention of other hominids. And so these illuminations are steady, and now you see them, as our friend here is intuiting, coming through at members of your collective at the moment, because these are the days that were prophesied. And you might have been awaiting first contact as a descent from the heavens, but rather it was an emerging from your bodies, from your DNA sequences, from your memories, and from your Akashic registers. All these are expanding and opening up. And this is why you might begin to understand that the idea that you may have actual physical encounters with beings that are closer to, well, the frequency we also held when we were physical, a high vibrational frequency. And we lived in the fifth dimension, where our friend here has indeed joined us in his energy body. Well, this frequency you may sense is coming closer and closer for you to be able to join to it and communicate with it. And so you may also sense that your way of working energy, symbols, and understanding, your way of transmitting thoughts, emotions, and your way of perceiving human beings are all changing, and they seem to be taking a synesthetic quality, appearing to you in a fullness of interconnection, of color, emotion, and sensation, of inspiration and intuition, indeed of love that you are feeling. So we sense that this is the vibrational message that we would like to convey both to our friend here and extend to all of you, hoping that it served you, extending our warmest wishes and wishing you so well. Thank you, dear human beings, our love, dear ones. That was friend Umlam and the Arcturian council up in the 90 I hope those sharings also served you, and much love to you out there.